We got a bit frisky last week and we did some sparring, and I'm pretty sure I agitated my MCL tear that I copped 5 weeks ago now, I think. 5 weeks or so ago. So taking a little bit more time this morning to make sure I do my rehab, which is admittedly something I'm really bad at. I've never really been good at stretching and rolling and all that sort of stuff. I love massages. I love getting me massages, but outside of that, I've never really been real good at stretching. My hammies are tight as, my shoulders are dodgy, my neck's dodgy. So now that I'm 41 years old and I want to keep training and I'm getting injured more often, I gotta make sure that I take my rehab a bit more seriously. And rehab really shouldn't just be when you're injured, hey. Like, I'm only realizing that now. I'm only realizing that now at 41 years old, you know, with a bunch of, you know, when you're this age, man, you really only have one good joint of anything, right? So like, say for instance, I've got one good elbow, I've got one good shoulder, I've got one good knee. Actually, my ankles are all right. But yeah, you only get one good of each. And most of the time it's you managing how to not hurt the good one and how not to make the bad one worse. So that's where this rehab stuff really comes in handy. Actually, it's not handy, it's mandatory. And when you're rolling, my mate Vinny gave me this foam roller about, I don't know, maybe like 15 years ago when I used to train out of the garage at a house in Doolandella, and I never touched it. It's worked in such good nick, but I think about 2 months ago I hurt my back, and he suggested I use the foam roller, and that was the first time I was like, oh my God, what have I been doing with my life? How come I haven't been using this thing the whole time? And it was pretty much 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at night, religiously every day for about 7 days. And it really helped decompress my back. And that's where most of the injuries come from, is that compression when you're lifting or when you're training, or it's like your neck and your back and your hips are just getting squashed, pinching on nerves, and it's not allowing things to fire properly. So yeah, a lot of those injuries that I've been copping is from something compensating, or yeah, just not, like the muscles aren't firing properly, my body's not working properly, and my balance is off, so I've had to compensate. And then that's when something, you know, gets tweaked, or I've got to push in a different range of motion, or in a range of motion that my body's not used to. And yeah, that's pretty much when my body's like, hey man, I know that we're trying to have some fun here and trying to get fit and healthy, but I think it's time we start to take the car to the mechanics, you know? But this is the part that is not fun for me. This is not fun for me. This is boring to me. But you gotta do it, hey? You gotta show up, as they say. That's annoying, hey? You gotta show up. That's annoying. I hate that. It's one of the most annoying things that, I think that's one of the most annoying things about the fitness industry, or the gym industry, or the combat sports industry even. Just show up. It's like, nah man, you gotta show up, but you're also gotta be willing to do the stuff that you don't want to do. Like, how you show up matters, right? How you show up is really important as well. Like, yeah, show up, but if you're gonna show up and just hate on everything and just be an asshole, then maybe don't show up. Maybe don't show up. Oh, because this is like annoying, boring, and painful. But I'm trying to have a good attitude about it because I want to associate this with something good. You know, this is going to allow me to do the stuff that I like to do, the fun stuff, you know? So I'm going to show up with a good attitude and not just show up. And mind you, there is something to just showing up and grinding and just like getting through it. I think that's okay if you're by yourself and you're just hating life, but you're still doing what you need to do. But if you're around other people and you're hating life, then I think that's going to be a problem. Oh man, these things are great. Oh, there's this little spot that the chiro's been getting, and it's under my shoulder blade right here. That really gets me going. Oh, but I can feel my shoulder relax immediately. As soon as I hit it, I can feel the shoulder just drop. And I think it's one of those ones where I just have to learn to embrace the pain, as they say. Oh, because every time I go get a massage or a correction and they hit that spot, I hate looking like I'm a weak bitch. Oh, but unfortunately, sometimes I'm a weak bitch. Ow. Oh, and it shows on my face. Whoa. Oh, that's... See, the only thing to be effective, the only way that these things are effective, or this type of rehab is effective, is if you actively go after the tender spots and the sore spots and the spots that bring tears to your eyes. Oh, but you got to stay there until it doesn't bring tears to your eyes. So you actually got to seek it out. You got to seek out the discomfort. You got to seek out the hurt until it hurts so good. Right there. Yeah. But I was feeling good last week actually. I was getting some rounds in. I think I got about 5 rounds in or 6 rounds or something like that. And then I threw a switch kick. And I was moving around with Dan, the ape man, Watego. And as my foot went to hit his hip, I turned my toes up so that if he caught it, I could just pull my leg away. And as I did that, my foot hit his hip. My foot stopped, but my knee kept going. And I felt it straight away, and I was like, ooh, I better leave that alone. So, but he was good. He was able to just do some boxing rounds, which is great because he's bloody handy with pretty much anything. Eh? He's got really good range. He's hard to hit. He knows how to use his range too, which is really good for people who got that length on them. A lot of times people don't really know how to use that range effectively because they want to replicate a style that they've seen on TV or they have this idea of what type of fighter they want to be. But if you can just be logical and stick to the game plan and use your weapons and maximize the benefits, then yeah, you can find a lot of success in a short amount of time, and that's something that Dan's able to do. And yeah, he proved it. He had an MMA fight recently, and he proved it. He was just stuck on the outside, long shots, jab, cross, outside leg kick. Caught him with some great hooks, great crosses, but use that jab to keep distance, and every time his opponent stepped into range, he'd punish him. So yeah, so here I am, just making sure that I take care of my body, because yeah, knowing that I've got to move around with guys like that, just gonna make sure I preserve myself. And we're not going crazy, we never go too crazy, you know, we're never trying to kill each other. But we do have to keep each other honest, hey. Like if we're training and you know, I'm not hitting you with shots that you respect, and you're not going to get a real sense of urgency and when you need to be defending. Like, yeah, if I'm too light, or if you're too light on me, like, that defensive responsibility is not enforced. It's like we just get too loose, too playful. Being playful is great though, but yeah, you really still need to have that reality of you know, when an effective shot lands, and when a shot lands but you could still get away with. And that takes a bit of experience to learn. Like, you've got to get some, you know, you got to get a bunch of rounds under your belt with a range of different people to be able to understand when somebody's landing a shot on you but pulling back just enough, and then you acknowledging and recognizing that, oh yes, that was a great shot, there's nothing I could have done about that, and they were actually controlling the situation by not sitting down and following through with that shot. And a lot of times when you're moving around with beginners, they don't quite understand that idea. And so if you're being too light on them, you're actually doing them a disservice, because then they think that that's a shot that they can wear and keep advancing, which is most often the case. So if you add a little bit more to it, add a little bit more sort of mustard to the shot, and not too much, just enough for them to stop, then they'll understand, like, okay, like, I can't just keep advancing here, I can't just walk through these shots. That's a shot that I need to be worried about, and that's the opening that I need to take care of. Like, I need to be responsible with my defense in that instance. So yeah, that's how you help somebody learn. Like, you don't want them to learn the wrong way, because being nice to a newbie, that's great, and you should be nice to them, but it gets to a point in time where they have to understand the reality of sparring and combat sports. Like, and even sparring, like, you're never really going full bore in the gym. Like, fight camp maybe, if you've got a fight coming up, you know, you'll have to get some hard rounds in. I'm a believer of that. But if you're just like training as like a casual, like a hobbyist like us, then there's no reason to go hard all the time. There's no real reason to go hard at all, you know. Yeah, I mean, it is valuable for you to do some hard rounds and get some hard rounds and feel that intensity, but if you want to do that, man, fight. Join a gym, sign up, fight. Like, whether it's boxing, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, MMA, like, just feel that intensity. It's so important for you to feel that intensity at least once in your life, I reckon. Because you'll hit that level and that'll be your benchmark forever. Like, once you hit like that fitness level, and once you understand that, oh man, like, you get injured, then you have to like show up anyway. You know, and then because you know, you don't want to pull out of the fight. Nobody ever wants to pull out of the fight. And you do your best, so you do your best. As soon as you get injured, most of the time, people are trying to figure out a way to get to the fight still, you know? And then there's the whole dance of managing the injury while still working on what you need to work on. And you might get an opponent change, and then your whole strategy goes out the window, and you gotta scramble and change tactics, or maybe you just keep going ahead, you know. There's the dieting, you know, you gotta be really disciplined. Like showing up is not just showing up to the gym, hey, it's like showing up everywhere at all times, like throughout every element of the camp. So sleep, hydration, diet, recovery, like this, you know, all that while you got to balance life, all that while you got to balance, you know, school, uni, work, family, partners, other responsibilities, you know. That's the showing up part. That's the part that I think we should talk about more, because showing up, if you believe everything on TikTok and Instagram, showing up looks like you at the gym lifting 400 kilos and going, oh yeah, I did that because I showed up, you know, every day. But if you showed the part of where fighters work a 10-hour shift, scramble to get to the gym, train for an hour and a half, go home, try to get some sort of dinner, sleep for what, 5-6 hours, wake up early, rinse and repeat. That's showing up. And you do that throughout your fight camp. And then you have the guilt of your partner, if you have a partner at home, handling, you know, everything else. Like, if you've got kids as well, you've got the guilt of your partner looking after the kids the whole time, you know. And that mentally plays on you, like weighs on your head, weighs on your mind. So you're like, there's more pressure now to win that fight. You know what I mean? Otherwise, like, there's that pressure that you put on yourself. It's like, oh man, if I don't win, it's going to be a waste of time. And I've just put my partner through this, and my kids haven't seen me in about, you know, 7 or 8 weeks. What for? But that's the risk, right? But the reward is, if you show up and you keep showing up, and you show up with a good attitude, the reward is your kids and your partner and the people around you get to see what it means to show up, and they get to see how you show up, because that's a true indicator of your character, right? You're showing up when you don't want to show up. Grind, man, the grind. Like every single day. You can't even eat. If you're dieting, you can't even eat. Like you can't even, the one thing that I like the most and brings me a lot of comfort is eating. And you can't even do that. And it's just every second of every day. And then then the actual like water cut, like being in the sauna, trying to get rid of that water. Oh, like you're water loading, and then you run into the loo every, you know, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, trying to explain to your boss why you got to keep going to the toilet. And you're in the worst mood all the time, you're grumpy all the time, and then you gotta try to be nice to people around you when they're just asking you stupid questions. That's showing up. If you can show up with a good attitude in those moments, yeah. You should give fighters more respect for the constraint that they have. And if they only yell at you once, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. But yeah, I'm gonna keep rolling myself out. I got a lacrosse ball that I need to roll my feet out with. Ooh, starting to feel good already. So, these things, it's just a lacrosse ball. But man, take care of your feet, eh? Like, I've just looked up on TikTok. Ever since I've done my knee, I've just been on this rampage of looking up how to look after my knee. And then it's all related to your feet. It's all feet. just like some of you on OnlyFans, it's all just feet. And so you really got to look after your feet. Get those wide toe box shoes so that your toes can spread out and actually grip and grab. Luckily for us in MMA and Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, we train barefoot, so it's really good for our feet. But if you're like doing a sport and you've got shoes that sort of put your toes together and you get those bunions, man, there's going to be a lot of injuries, like a lot of ankle, knee and hip injuries, back injuries that come from it, and back, then it's neck, then it's shoulders. So it really just starts with your feet. So yeah, I've been on a warpath, just trying to, first of all, get my toes a bit more separated. So I went and quickly impulsed and bought a wide toe box shoe so I could wear every day. I don't care if it looks like a clown shoes, man, like whatever. I'm an uncle now, man. I'm 41 years old. I don't care what people think. I'm just trying to not die soon, Just trying to live longer. But yeah, I suggest you start with your feet and do all the stretches and the toe stretches and really roll those arches in your feet out. But if you can do this a few times a day, I think we'll be all right, eh? But yeah, all right, I'll talk to you.